Hey everybody, sorry you're a little low, but I have to sit a little different today. So I'm here. I've post surgery. Sorry, the cat's gonna start yelling, of course. A couple days post surgery. I'm doing good. We're good. I haven't taken any of the prescribed pain medicine. Oh, sorry. Pause. Hi everybody, welcome or welcome back to Raven's Escape Crafts. I'm your host Sue. Um, Here we talk yarn and life and all sorts of other stuff. You're probably going to hear my husband and kids in the background. This is going to be, I'm recording when I can. I apologize. It's really loud. So I'm just, yeah, so for those of you who know, I had appendix surgery this week. Apologies, I haven't had a video. And I apologize, you guys are, like I said, sort of low because I can only put this a certain way. I have to sit certain ways so I can be comfortable ish. Um, but I hope you guys are all doing well. I missed you guys a lot. I didn't get a whole lot done this week, but that's okay. That's okay because I was healing. I was healing from my surgery, and that's perfectly all right, right? Um, but I did want to stop on here and make a video for you today on this snowy Sunday here in Pennsylvania, and we're having snowmageddon today. If anybody knows, I hope everybody else is staying safe and warm. We're good here. It's snowing. It turned to ice now, but I have nowhere to go, obviously. So we're good. We're okay. Um, we're staying warmish, and we're just settled in. Like I said, my husband and kids are recording their D&D channel stuff right now. So if you hear them talking and laughing in the background, that's what's going on there. I'm working on some witch hats. This is that red heart brushed yarn I was telling you all about that I got in that Yarnspirations box. This is the color mink. I'm making hats from it. My wizard hats. I think they're cool because they're a little fuzzy. So I'm working on some of that today while it's snowing and blowing and yucky outside. And oh, I can't shovel. Oh, so sad. Um, I hope you guys are all. I know a lot of the United States is getting hit by the storm. I hope everybody who watches this is safe and warm. And if you do have to go out, that you be careful, you be safe. And if you do have to go out and shovel and things, be careful of your health, of your back. Take it easy. Make sure you hydrate plenty. And don't think you have to be superheroes. It gets done when it gets done. Get the important stuff done, and unless you absolutely have to go out and do stuff, let it finish first. Because if you shovel and then it's icing and stuff, so yeah. So I wanted to come on and just do a little video so you guys knew I was okay. I was all right. Like I said, I'm a little sore still. I had the surgery on Wednesday. I had the appendix surgery on Wednesday, so I'm still a little sore. Mostly just like on the inside, like where they cut the muscle wall. All my incisions look good. There's only 3 little bitty incisions on my belly, and they all look good, and they don't really hurt at all. It's just the inside where they cut the. I'm assuming it's where they cut the muscle wall to get to the appendix. That's still sore, like hurting when I move around and stuff like that. So I've been trying to walk some, but I can't like bend over and do stuff or a couple other things, but that's okay. I can still crochet. So I've been crocheting some, sleeping a lot, which is the best thing for me. But I have not had to take any of my big pain pills. The pain's honestly been very, very dealable, incredibly. I've taken some Tylenol, some Advil, taking turns on them, and that's been doing enough. It's more that my back hurts probably from laying and stuff like that. So, yeah. But the pain from the actual surgery has been very minimal. I have not had, unless I try to like bend and twist too much, then it pinches. But it's not been bad at all. So I did want to come on and share a few little stories about my surgery. So of course, I wanted to make videos beforehand, but I was having kind of a rough. I had, as most of you know, I had gotten a cold or a flu or whatever it was beforehand. So I was desperately trying to get better because I really wanted to have the surgery, and I know you're not really supposed to have it if you've been sick, but honestly, I wanted that surgery. I just wanted to get it over with. I really didn't want to have to reschedule, and who knows when I would have been getting it. So I was trying desperately to get better and resting, and of course being nervous about it. I had never had surgery before in my life. Oh, we didn't even talk about my hood. Hold on, pause, but I finished this hood. I did finish this. This is an ombre, the Premiere, I believe. Ombre in the purple. And it's a hooded scarf. So it's got the hood, and then it's got plenty of scarf to it. It's a thick scarf. This would be a good one if you have to go out and shovel, which I don't, but if I did, I would wear this to go out and shovel. Yeah, so I did finish this while I was preparing actually to go to have surgery ahead of time. Like I said, I wanted to make a video, but I was like I was dealing with a lot of crap, and I was nervous, and I just didn't feel like I could make a good. I wasn't in the headspace to come on here, and I know I try to be genuine, but I was really not in the best headspace. I just wasn't, and I'm being honest with you now. I didn't want to make a video where I was all nervous and freaking out and having a hard time. I really didn't. In fact, I had a hard enough time today. I was going to make a video yesterday, but I didn't. I was tired, and when I had time, I could make a video. I fell asleep, but which is okay. It's fine. And then honestly, like watching everything that's going on in Minneapolis, I wasn't sure if I was going to get this video made today, to be honest with you, because it's hard. The stuff that's going on in our country right now, I mean, my eyes are so puffy from crying, watching videos of what happened, and it's really truly heartbreaking to see, and maddening, and scary. I told myself I wasn't going to talk about it, but I'm going to talk about it. I know a lot of people try to avoid politics and stuff, but I don't feel like this is political. I feel like this is human nature, humanity. Let's just say it's humanity. Hold on, let me pause this a second. It's humanity. And if any of you disagree with me or don't want to like hear about politics, I apologize for that, but I'm not going to stay silent on it. That's just complicity, and I am not willing to do that. I will get back to the appendix story, which will be funny. And if you want to skip this part, and if you feel like you need to skip this part, you can. But I'm going to talk about a little bit. The thing that I'm watching going on in our state of affairs right now is I have been a huge World War II buff my entire life. Well, not my entire life, but since I'm a teenager, and I'm 48. I've read countless books and watched countless documentaries, shows on World War II. Why? And I've discussed this before, but I'm going to say it again. Because my question was, how did this happen? How did we allow someone to murder millions of people while people sat by and watched? I spent years, countless years, in the search for the answer to that question. How did this happen? Okay, never mind. Sorry about that. I've got, over all these books and things I've read, a fair to midland understanding as to how it can happen. Never in my lifetime did I think I would watch it happen in real time. Never in my lifetime did I think that the answer to that question would be shown to me. That my quest for knowledge would instead one day be shown to me in my own country, in the land of the free and the home of the brave. Never did I think I'd watch it happen. I'm watching it happen. And if you haven't done the kind of research that I have, if you have no interest in World War II and Germany and concentration camps, that's fine. But listen to, do a little research as to, I'm sorry, why the German people allowed it to happen. They believed what the government was telling them. They believed that they were just taking people away to make their lives better. The Jewish people were the root of all evil. They were the ones taking their jobs. They were the ones taking their housing. They were the ones getting everything for free. It wasn't true. And it's not true today. And people believed it. They were told their lives were going to get better. And in a lot of cases they did. Is the sad part, because they were war torn from World War I still. So having this influx of housing, nice housing, was good for a lot of the German people. Having a lot of influx of supplies, like household items, things that were taken away that people could get for cheap. It was making people's lives better. Taking away businesses that were established for many, many years and giving them to German people made their lives better. It did. Which made it easier to turn a blind eye to what was really happening to their neighbors. And then there was the fact that they didn't have things like we do now. They didn't have internet or videos. So whether or not, and let's just face it, the German government was smart. They didn't put concentration camps in Germany. No. They put them in Poland and with Czechoslovakia and places like that. They kept them away from, they kept the eyesores out of the way so the German people weren't seeing what happened. They put them in places like Poland where they were in complete control and people were already complicit because of having lived under a communist regime. So they knew not to talk because they knew the consequences of that. So they hid these things away out of the, put the eyesores away from the eye of the public. And so your neighbors were just getting taken away and they were going to work for the good of the country, for the war. And people turned a blind eye to it and let it happen. They watched them get dragged out in the street and shipped off. And again, like I said, they didn't have the video, the proof and stuff we have now. They didn't have the internet to show us what was going on. They could, they had much more limited access to information. They only heard what was coming through in the newspaper from their neighbors. They didn't have the proof that we're watching right now. And even with all the proof, people are still denying what is happening. I don't care who you are. These are human beings that this is happening to. Human beings. You can change the word Jewish to illegal and use the same rhetoric. And it doesn't matter. They're human beings. You can play however you want to. Oh, they came here illegally, which most of them did not. And besides the fact that they're arresting and taking U.S. citizens, rounding them up like cattle. American citizens. Don't get me wrong. I have no problem with them deporting people who have done heinous crimes. I do believe if you've done a felony and you're convicted of a felony and you're not in this country legally, you should be deported. I believe that wholeheartedly. We have enough homegrown problems. We really don't need, what I'm saying? If they truly were just rounding up rapists and child molesters, I say go for it all day, every day. Get them out of this country. I don't want them here either. I don't want the homegrown ones here, to be honest with you. Not that I think we should deport U.S. citizens. In no way do I think that, but I'm just saying. But regardless, every person is a human being. We have laws. We have rules in this country. People should be treated like human beings. Always. Always. I'm just saying. I can't just idly stand by and watch this stuff and see history repeating itself and not say anything. Watching what happened to poor Alex Pritt and Renee Good. The worst part to me is if that was an animal. Like if that was a dog that was barking and somebody did that to him, y'all would be up in arms. It was a human being. human being. Yeah. So I'm having a little trouble with that today. A lot of trouble. Uh, it's it hurts my soul. It really truly does. It hurts my soul just looking at it, talking about it, seeing it, and the thing that warms my heart is watching all the people who are seeing it, who are upset about it, who are protesting and demanding that we do something about this. There's tons of good in this world. There is. And there's tons of good people. And we all need to stand up together and not let this keep happening. We can't, and my heart is full because I see the positive side. I see the people who are not letting this happen, who are not believing it, we're not letting ourselves get shown it. And that part warms my soul. Because if I just watch the bad stuff and I don't watch any of the good, it's too hard. But there's a lot of good happening too. A lot of people's eyes are being opened, seeing what's going on. And we need that right now. We need their eyes open. And we need to stop what's happening. And I'm putting my faith in the fact that we are not going to end up like the people at the end of World War II who were asked, and they said, "Oh, I didn't know. Well, what could I do about it?" I truly have faith that our country is going to stand up and fix this and make it right. We are going to not let this keep going on. We can't. And I have full faith that there's more than enough good people in this country that we're not going to stand for it. All right. I'm going to pause a sec. I'm going to get myself together, and then we're going to talk about my appendix surgery because that was a whole lot more fun. Okay. All right. So appendix story. All right. Let's get into that. All right. So, of course, I was nervous. Like I said, I was nervous. I had never had surgery before. And so we went to the hospital. I got the call. I had to go to the hospital. We had to be there at 6 o'clock in the morning. And it was freaking cold. It was freezing. It was -1 degree when we got in the van. So it was cold. But we went over to the hospital. Everything went good. Got in there. They took us downstairs to the the area before you have surgery. And they went through all the questions and stuff. The nurse was super nice. Of course, I had to do a pregnancy test. Don't get me started. But whatever. So, of course, that came back negative. Shock. And they said, okay, your surgery's scheduled for 8 o'clock. No big deal. You'll be down here till it's like 7:30. They'll take you up to the holding area. Okay. So, of course, me being me, nothing went totally smooth. Nothing, of course not. So we go up. So, of course, 7:30, the girl comes and she's like, "Hi, I'm transport for the operating thing, blah, 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 no big deal." She was super nice. She goes to, of course, you start out down in the basement and you have to go up to the 3rd floor, which is where surgery is. So, of course, she takes me past like the kitchen thing, and they come right past me with food and coffee. But she's like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm sure that smells like you haven't eaten it. It probably smells." And I'm like, "Girl, I could care less about the food. That coffee is killing me, though. The coffee, I wanted a cup of coffee so bad." But of course, whatever. So she's laughing at me. So we go up to the holding area, and they're like, "Oh, who's your surgeon?" And she's like, "Oh, Dr. Juthani." And they're like, "Oh, she's, Juthani's getting held in PACU." So she's like, "Oh, I didn't know." Now, the funny part was, the whole time she's taking me up there, her phone, not her personal cell phone, her hospital phone that she's carrying keeps going off and going off and going off. Well, here it was because they were trying to get a hold of her to tell her to take me to PACU and not to the holding area. So, and she laughed. So, of course, we get up to PACU, and they're having a meeting. So I can't even go in there because they're all having a meeting in the PACU part, which is, I found out, is post amnesia, or not amnesia, anesthesia care unit, right? So they're having a meeting, so we can't. So we're like creeping. We're like around the corner while they're all talking and stuff. And the poor transcripts girl like, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. I'm like, it's fine, it's not your fault. And she's like, I'm sorry, they have meetings to go over stuff, like to keep up on everything. And I'm like, it's fine. So then, of course, the anesthesiologist, the head anesthesiologist, comes and he shows up. And of course, he's like trying to find me too. And of course, I'm just like sitting in the hallway on this cot, right, with my transport girl. So he's like, well, I'll just talk to you here. So we're like lurking around the corner in the PACU, which is this big room, And so he does his whole thing, spiel, like, stick your tongue out, blah, blah, blah. Goes over the whole thing for anesthesia. No big deal. I was fine, I expected all that. And like I said, and the nurse that was downstairs, she was super nice too. She was super nice. She was really nice. She went over like, what to expect afterward and what they were going to need to do afterward and how it all works. I felt really bad because there was another woman in there who was getting ready for surgery and she didn't speak any English. And they did not have one person in there that spoke Spanish. So this poor woman had to keep getting the people on the phone with the translator. So everybody knew all this poor woman's business. I felt so bad because we're just like, we're in a room with just curtains. So you could hear them and the translator phone, right? So we just kept hearing them and hearing them and hearing them. I'm like, oh my God, I felt so bad for this poor lady. All her business is out in the public. And then the girl next to me, she was having some just like angio surgery, but she was on such a laundry list of medications, and she was like 11 years younger than me, and so she ended up staying like overnight because they need to get her pain under control and all this jazz. I was like, ooh, so it definitely made me feel healthy compared to everybody else. So they finally got me settled in the PACU, and I'm the only one in there. It's like me and what I'm assuming was a whole bunch of nurses because they took my glasses and I am blind as a bat without my glasses. So I think there was a whole lot of different nurses in there. I just couldn't tell you what any of them looked like because they were like all just blue covered blurs that all looked very similar to me. So they got me there. They asked me all the questions. They did all the stuff they needed to do. The nurse was very, very nice. And they're like, okay, well, so we're having a little bit of problems this morning. Now, keep in mind, it was -1 degrees when I got in the car. And when we were driving, it was even showing like colder than that because, when you're driving, it's showing colder. So we're, sorry, we're in the car. Or so I get there, they're like, so we're having a little bit of trouble this morning. They're like, the problem is the operating rooms are actually too hot. I'm like, how on earth are they too hot? It's like negative degrees outside. So like, that's the problem. They said, I guess with the operating rooms, because of course they have to have like the negative air so that like they're not pulling air from outside to keep a sterile environment, that they have, it's warm in there, and so they actually use chillers, which runs cold water through this pipe system. Well, the pipes froze, so the chillers weren't working, so all of the operating rooms were like 85 degrees. My luck. And they're supposed to be 65 degrees. And they said they can't even open a bed, an operating room bed, until it's down to 76. And of course, being that they're sterile, it's not like they can just like, you know, um, open a window or something. So yeah, so there's that. So I'm like, oh my god. So they're like, oh, it shouldn't take too long. We're hopeful it won't take too long. So I'm like, okay. So they're like, but we can't open anything up until then, right? So I'm like, oh my god. I was already nervous, and now I have to wait. So I'm like, all right, get myself in a mindset of like, I can do this. We're fine. We're fine. We're fine. We're fine. And a couple nurses came over and talked to me. Because like I said, I was all by myself. I'm like the only person over there in the PACU. And then my anesthesiologist came. Oh my God. Let me tell you, I love my anesthesiologist. He was the best. He was this guy, had to be like in his 50s. Hold on, I need to check something real quick. Had to be like in his 50s. He was with this long beard and this crazy scrub hat, and he was so funny. He was, he came over and he's like, hey, and he puts his hand on my leg, and he's like, I'm going to be your anesthesiologist today, and he did the whole, opening mouth, blah, 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 and he's like, so, how well do you do under anesthesia? And I'm like, I don't know. I've never had anesthesia before. He's like, oh my God, I've never done anesthesia before either. My God, we're going to go do this together. This is amazing. And he's like, I'm really sorry. I'm like bad with dad jokes and all this jazz. And I'm like, it's okay. Like, I live with a dad joke person, So he was so funny. He was so funny. And of course, like, he kept coming over to me and like, saying stuff like, oh, you're still over here, blah, blah, blah. And it just making me laugh, which made me feel so much better, to be honest with you. Because I was like a little nervous, So then they finally come and they're like, you know what? This is ridiculous. We're not going to make you sit over here by yourself. We're going to take you over to holding and have you go in. We'll put you over with everybody else so you're not alone. There's no sense you being lonely over here. Now, I'm Gen X, okay? I wasn't lonely. I'm good by myself. I'm like, it's okay. You can leave me over here. I'm good. And they're like, no. You shouldn't be alone. I'm like, see, I'm good, but, we could just leave me, And they're like, no. So, of course, they put me over into holding. So, and of course, everybody's freaking out because everybody wants to get going. And of course, there's no, they can't use the operating rooms. So everybody's like, flipping out, not flipping out, but like, you could tell everybody's they know they're behind now already, and everybody wants to get moving and stuff like that. And it's not happening. So of course I'm just sitting there, and of course, like, you're just like behind a curtain, and then people like Bert came in and saw me again. He's like, do you want this curtain closed? Do you want it open a little so you can actually see stuff? I'm like, well, that would be nice. At least it can be nosy, you know what I'm saying? So he left the curtain open a little bit. So then I got to sit there and listen to this one guy, this older guy, hello, he kept yelling, hello, and then the nurse would go over, she's like, yeah, can I help you? I have to pee. And she's like, can you pee in the urinal? Yeah, I can pee in the urinal. Here, just help me get it out. So I'm listening to that. And then they put another guy next to me he was like across the room. Then they put a guy next to me, right, who could not stop farting. Oh my God. The smell. And I'm already like a little nauseous because I'm nervous, and I haven't eaten anything for like 12 hours at this point. And, like, your stomach starts getting like that funky after you haven't eaten for so long. So I'm like, I'm a little nauseous, and now this guy's farting. Oh my God. So I'm like, and of course I'm like laid back on this stupid gurney, which isn't comfy. So I'm sitting up. I sat up, and I'm like sitting up, and I must have been making a face because one of the nurses comes in and she's like, oh my God, are you okay? And I'm like, and she's like, oh. She's like, I'm sorry. This guy just kept farting and farting and farting. I'm like, what did you eat? good Lord, you know? So, yeah. So I was stuck there with that. And of course, like I keep hearing them say, oh, they're only down to 79. I'm like, oh, and I can't tell what time it is because there's a clock across the wall, but I can't, it just looks like a round disc to me. I can't tell what the heck. I couldn't even tell you if my life depended on it, what time it was. So apparently it was like 10:30. I was supposed to go in at 8. It was like 10:30 until I finally went in for, or 10 o'clock until I went in for my surgery. So I sat there for over 2 hours waiting to go in. Of course I did. But then once I went into the room, I had robotic surgery, which is kind of cool because I had never seen like a robot before that operated on you. And the cool part was like they pulled me, they wheeled me into this like big room. I didn't expect it to be so big. And everybody, like, they had music blasting, everybody's joking around, everybody's having fun. Of course, a lot's going on. Like, Bert told me, he's like, it's going to be like NASCAR. We're going to get you in there, and it's going to be like NASCAR. Everybody's going to be working on you. And that's pretty much what happened. And, which was funny. And, everybody's grabbing me, doing stuff, this, that, the other thing. They have me sit up so they can, pull my gown, and Bert's like, oh my God, she's broken. I saw her crack. I'm like, and the nurse looks down at me. She looks down at me. She goes, at least you get to sleep through this. We have to listen to him the entire time. I was laughing so hard. And then he gave me some stuff, and he's like, all right, this is going to happen. I don't remember a darn thing. He gave me some stuff. He started talking to me about my favorite alcoholic beverages, and I don't remember. He told me they were going to put a mask on me. He told me they were going to push I was gone. Next thing I remember was apologizing to the guy in recovery because I kept falling asleep. And, yeah, so there was that. That was my whole, operating room experience. And then of course, I woke up in recovery. Oh my God, I was so hot. Because apparently, like, it was hot in the operating room, and then, of course, they pack you with, like, warm blankets afterwards so you're not cold. Well, I was probably, knowing me, perimenopause me, I was probably hot in the operating room already, and then they get me out and pack me with these blankets. Well, till I woke up, I was dying. I was absolutely dying. And, of course, the girl had said to me downstairs, she's like, look, when you're in recovery, they can give you pain meds and they can give you anti-nausea meds. She's like, if you don't want to take pain meds, that's completely up to you. You know what I mean? If you don't need them or don't want them, you know, that's up to you. But please, 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 please. She's like, if you feel even a little bit nauseous, tell them. Let them give you the nausea meds. Because she's like, it's one thing to be in some pain. It's another to be throwing up, especially right after surgery. And I'm like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So, of course, I was really hot. So I'm nauseous. I'm like, I starting to, like, come out of it. And I'm like, oh, like, especially again after not having eaten. And then, like, I'm like, I don't feel so good. And he's like, oh, he goes running, like, across the room, comes back. I got something for that. I'm like, okay. So he gave me some, I'm assuming Zofran. It did help some, but I was so hot. So he got me awake. I was awake. Pain was minimal. And then they took me back downstairs and to the final thing. So we get down there. I don't remember the guy in recovery. I feel bad. I don't remember him very much at all. I was in and out. But they got me downstairs. And the nurse comes in and she's like, they had asked if I wanted anything. And I said, like, how about a ginger ale? So they got me a diet ginger ale and some crackers. So the minute I got down there, I popped the ginger ale. And I'm like, oh, I need something to drink. So I drank the diet ginger ale quick. And I like, bit into a cracker. And she comes in and she's like, okay, I see you're having your snacks and drink. And I'm like, she's like, what can I get you? I'm like, I'm so hot. I'm like, she's like, I can get you ice packs. Hold on. So she got me. She's like, oh, here, I got you one for you and one for your belly. I'm like, screw the belly. Pfft. I got them like on my freaking head. I had them like wrapped around my neck. I'm like, oh, ice packs. And I'm sure I looked ridiculous, but I didn't care at the time. I was so hot. I'm like wiping them across my face. I'm like, ice. And she's like, can I get you anything else? And I'm like, just like if I could get a bottle of water or something. So she's like, okay, yeah. And then, so then she came back in and she's like, all right, like, let's go over, and she's like, she had a bunch of questions for me and stuff. And so she had to ask me a whole bunch of stuff. And then she's like, oh, how's your pain? And I'm like, honest to God, it's like a 3. Like, it didn't hurt. I mean, and she's like, well, the numbing stuff should be worn off by now. And I'm like, I've had worse menstrual cramps than this, like way worse menstrual cramps than this, And even when I started moving, I'm like, it was like tight, I want to say. Like, I'm assuming it's either where they took the appendix or like where they cut. I'm assuming it's really where they cut through the muscle wall. Pinches like a little bit. It pinched, you know what I mean? But it didn't hurt, like, unless I moved wrong. So the pain wasn't. And she just looks at me, she goes, isn't it funny how some people can handle pain and some people can't? She's like, isn't that funny? Because she's like, some people come down here and they're like, it's a 15, it's a 15. And I'm like, I don't. And she's like, it's really only, I'm like, I don't. And she's like, how about when you're moving? Is it like a 10? I'm like, it's like a 6, maybe a 4. I don't. Like, it doesn't hurt that bad. So then of course she's like, well, okay, like if you can go pee, I can let you go. And I'm like, oh, okay, I want to go home. I just want to go home. I want to go home. I want to lay down in my own bed. So by this time Todd was back to the hospital, and because he had gone home, I told him not to stay. Just they'll call you. So he was back, and they're like, well, if you can go pee, you can go home. And I'm like, oh, okay, let's go pee. She's like, are you sure you can wait for a while? Maybe drink some more stuff or hang out. I'm like, no, let's just do this. So I got up, went to the bathroom. She's like, okay, yeah, you're good. I'm like, she's like, we're walking back. She's like, I wish all my patients could be like you. She's like, you're so easy. I'm like, I'm good. I'm like, can I, she's like, well, you can get dressed and go home if you want to. So that's what I did. I got dressed and we went up and we picked up the pain pills, which I haven't used any of them. And like I said, everybody was so nice at the hospital. I mean, everybody was so nice and so, for as worried as I was and nervous and stuff, I mean, they really made it like, they really helped and made my fears. I really liked the hospital. I really liked my surgeon. It really makes a difference what doctors and stuff you have, because I was watching because before my surgery, my surgeon he came over to the PACU to finish up my paperwork, and he sat down at one of the nurses' desks. I thought it was him. I wasn't sure, but it was, because then he walked over and talked to me, and all the nurses were joking around with him and talking to him, and I'm like, that's how you know whether you have a decent doctor or not. Watch the nurses. You know what I'm saying? Because if they're dicks to the nurses, they're not going to be chit-chatting with them and talking to them and joking around with them. And you can always tell how people are by how they treat people who are, I don't want to say less. I don't want to say, because nurses are not less than doctors in any way, shape, or form. But that is the perception of some doctors. And, the truth of the matter is doctors would be nothing without the nurses. Nothing. They couldn't do a darn thing. We all know that. But, so I was like, you know what? I'm like, I know I picked the right doctor, because they were all joking around with him and talking to him and wanted to, to hang out with him and stuff. And I'm like, that's a sign of a good doctor. That's a sign of a good doctor, you know. And I mean, his nurses at at his like main office were like that too. Like you could tell they were very like laid back and nice and happy. And I'm like, again, you can tell the sign of a good doctor by the nurses, you know. So that made me happy. And like I said, Bert was amazing, my anesthesiologist. Everybody was really good. It went well. I was extremely tired the night after, and I've been sleeping more than normal, but that's okay. My body's trying to heal, and every day gets a little easier. So I'm glad y'all are here with me, and I'm probably going to finish my video. We're over at 45 minutes here. I just wanted to come on and let y'all know I'm doing good. I do still have yarn to show you guys that I got. I know that's from like forever. I will get to it, I promise. I just did not get to it today, and I can't carry the box over by myself because I'm not supposed to pick it up, and I'm not supposed to lift stuff for 2 weeks after the surgery. So yeah, so I will do that, and I can't bend and stuff like that, so it's just not a good day to do that. But yeah, so I'm glad to talk to you all. I missed you all while I was not recording. It's so good to see you all and talk to you all. I hope you're all staying warm and safe. I hope you all have a great rest of your Sunday. I hope you all are working on some kind of project or reading a good book or doing something, especially if you're dealing with this weather. Stay safe, stay warm, and please, for the love of everything, choose love. Choose love every day. Every day. I love you all. I appreciate each and every one of you. I'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.